and so dreamed only, her traitorous actions affording her a little more time. He knew she planned to join a gym at the beginning of the new year. It had been scribbled in purple ink on a list of possible New Year's resolutions discarded in her kitchen trash can. He bet she made that resolution every year. June was the type of woman who made New Year's resolutions in November and never ever saw them through. A woman who dreamed. A woman who would buzz a total stranger into her building because she never expected to be a victim. His kind of woman. The handcart made the trip awkward, bumping along the risers as he climbed. It would have helped if June hadn't ordered wine. He could have carried a normal box up the stairs. But this fit the image he had of a delivery man. Safe and unassuming, too busy with his work to be a threat. He was at the door of June's second-story walk-up now. He straightened his cap, arranged the handcart in front of him, the heavy wooden box tied tightly to the metal. He felt in his pocket. Yes, everything was there. He arranged his features into something close to a smile and knocked. June opened the door, still a little out of breath from her climb up the stairs. She'd taken off the heavy coat, but her scarf was still wound around her neck in a breathtaking knot. Face to face with her, he didn't realize that he'd frozen until she said, "Kind of late for a delivery, isn't it?" Moving his lips even wider over his teeth, he said, "Yes, ma'am. Apologies, ma'am. Got behind today."
"I never thought the damn stuff would get here. Put it over there,"
June said, pointing to an uncluttered alcove just before the kitchen. The same alcove he'd been in last night, watching June watch television. She had never known he was there, and he'd slipped out after she fell asleep. He wrestled the handcart into the foyer and made for the alcove, reached into his pocket and depressed the call button on his disposable phone. June's phone began to ring. He saw a brief flicker of debate in her eyes, then she shrugged and let the door close behind him as she started toward the living room to attend to the call. The moment her back was turned, he attacked. He whipped her scarf up into her mouth so she couldn't scream, then picked her up and moved toward the bedroom. Might as well be comfortable about it. She was struggling, so he clouted her over the ear, just enough to daze her. That did the trick. June's eyes got woozy and the panic in them dulled. He stripped her down and tossed her on the bed, but took care in removing his own clothing piece by piece, folding the brown pants with the seams in, the shirt with sleeves together, then in half. He'd need to reclothe the driver. He didn't want anything getting on the uniform. June was groggy but cognizant, and when he rolled on the condom and took her, she tried to scream and get away. But he was much bigger, much stronger, and she had no chance. All her wriggling made it go quicker than he'd prefer, but at the end, he wrapped the trailing ends of the scarf around her throat and pulled them tight, and felt another kind of release flow through his veins. When her eyes bugged out, he pulled the scarf tighter still, watching critically as her skin turned a mottled red and the whites of her eyes began to fill with blood. After 3 long, excruciating, joyful minutes, she went completely limp beneath him. He cleaned up quickly. The truck was sure to be noticed soon. When everything was in place, he unwound the scarf from her neck and tied it in a jaunty bow. He kissed June on the forehead, briefly felt sorry that she'd never make it to the gym, dressed carefully, then left the apartment, locking the push-button lock behind him. He was surprised at how quietly the door closed, a silent witness to the death of its owner and the stranger going gently into that good night. The night air was brisk. Snow was coming. He turned up his collar and pushed the handcart in front of him to the delivery truck. He'd been lucky. The original driver was his size, and his uniform fit perfectly. He clambered into the truck, drove around the corner to a quiet, deserted cul-de-sac. He stripped, replaced the brown uniform with his own street clothes, struggled a bit getting the dead limbs of the driver back into the arm and leg holes, but finally had things in their proper places. He patted the empty-eyed driver on the head. Collateral damage, but necessary. He looked out the window on either side. The street was empty, the lights off in the 2 houses that flanked him. He was confident he hadn't been seen. He slid out the side